This is a very personal video. It's a serious and emotional issue, and it was actually quite a difficult writing process. I've never said it in my video before, but I need to start with a disclaimer saying that there's a small chance that what I'm seeing and experiencing is not necessarily real. For the purpose of this video, you need to keep this in mind because this is a very important subject with serious emotional implications that can change the way you feel about life, yourself, and everyone around you. I will tell you some stories that happened to me, but the interpretation is up to you. It's really an important video. These videos help a lot of people, and I want to ask you to help me reach more of them by supporting this channel. All links are in the video description. Thank you to those who already decided to finance the 434 messages. Among many things, psychedelics allow me to have contact with dead people and to receive messages from them. So far, I've had contact with 3 types of entities: machine elves, trees, and dead people. There were actually only 3 people I was allowed to have contact with, and I'll describe it now. Please do not ask me to get in touch with someone who died on your behalf. It doesn't work like that. All the entities I have contact with decide to have contact with me. I don't have any methods of initiating communication with them. So something I haven't mentioned yet was that I had tried ayahuasca before I tried mushrooms, but it doesn't really count because it didn't work. It gave me some mild hallucinations, but that was it, and at night, I was able to see dead World War I soldiers. It was not a pleasant experience. They came to me asking for something and I didn't know what to do. But my first real contact with a dead person was talking to Kurt Cobain on a heroic dose of magic mushrooms. That was my second time on mushrooms ever. I was being a smartass trying to test the entities if what they say actually is true. Back then, I still needed validation from my experiences and I was very skeptical about everything. But it turned out to be quite an important experience, and I'll make a separate video about this. Another thing I want to talk about was not really meeting a dead person, but it was rather a case of my grandfather issues being resolved by machine elves. He had died about 10 years ago, and he was an important person in my life. He never really had much time to visit me when I was a child, and it became an issue in my later life when I was trying to understand things as an adult. On one of the trips, machine elves unexpectedly decided to help me with this. They said, "You do not know this, but your grandfather came from the same place as another important person you had an emotional connection with." They showed me this girl that played a short role in my life at some point, and they showed me a scene through her eyes that I wasn't aware of. They showed me how she was using me for her personal gain and how I was not aware of it. And then they said, "This girl and your grandfather were very selfish people. They were only concerned with their personal issues, and you played a secondary role in their life." And that was the closure I needed. After that experience, I stopped thinking about my grandfather. The second dead person I met was a family member I had never met. It was a father of another family member, someone who died when she was young. And on one of the trips, he showed up to give me a message for her. And here is what he wanted me to say to her. "Your dad has been watching you this whole time. He is okay with everything you do, and he left knowing that I will show up in your life and that you will be in good hands. He moved to another country because he wanted to get away from the negativity of your mom. His goal was to be relaxed and have a relaxed life, and your mom was always dragging him down. He didn't want to be dragged down, and he just wanted to have a relaxed life. Your happiness and your cheerfulness was blocking your mom's negativity from him. He loved you so much because you had the same vibration as he did, and you were what he always wanted to be, just happy. He wanted you to achieve a lot and be ambitious because he didn't want you to be struggling as he was. He wanted to give you the tools that would allow you to successfully create a happy life. He wanted you to be on the right path from the beginning. He was always creating something, and he could never complete anything, but he thought you were his biggest creation and the most complete one." I talked to his daughter about this message, and she confirmed every single word. She said that is all true. But the most important message that I got was from my dead cousin. He died recently from a heart attack. He was a few years older than me, and he was quite important to me in my childhood, but the last time I saw him was when I was a teenager. This happened on one of my recent trips. I was recording a voice note from an entity while everything was blurred around me, as usually when I talk to them. Suddenly, something interrupted my communication in a very intrusive way. It felt as if I had an important incoming message. My vision became sharp and crisp, as if I had an HD camera in my eyes. I get this on mushrooms sometimes, like we all do, But this was much clearer, and it was very different. And the moment this happened, I looked at the screen of my phone, and the recording time was 4 minutes and 34 seconds. And I suddenly saw my cousin appear in my head. It looked like he peeked into this reality or descended into this form to talk to me. It was very different from meeting Kurt Cobain in his dimension. He clearly came down to this dimension to send me a message. As a welcome gift or an intro to his presence, he brought with him one of my favorite early childhood memories associated with him. He knew what he was doing because when I think about him, that is what I remember. It was a Christmas evening when he was reading to me a bedtime story about what happens in the city he lives in when everyone goes to sleep. It was my favorite childhood book and I have it to this day. He showed me this scene with the room, the Christmas tree lights on the walls, as if he wanted to open his visit in the best way possible. It was wonderful to be able to see this moment again. He brought me a message that was, think about and take care of other people and your family. Don't worry, everything is fine. We all have our path. You will be okay. We are one and we come from the same place. It was a very emotional moment that got me really sad, but he switched off that sadness in an instant while saying, don't cry, don't worry that I died. Everything is okay. No one dies and we all go back to the same place. And I switched back to my normal emotional state after that. I remember thinking, you died so young. To which his reaction was, everyone comes and does what they're supposed to do, and they have the right amount of time here necessary to complete it. Don't worry about this. Then he said to take care of his mom, that she was left alone with her emotions and that now she needs attention. She wants to know there is somebody with her. I asked about his brother and he said, he's doing okay. He doesn't need help. I asked about his teenage children and he said, don't worry, I am taking care of them. I actually never saw them in my life and he said, visit them and tell them how you feel about me. And then he left as quickly as he appeared. A few months later, I got on a plane and I went to see his mom and his children. I spent a long evening talking to my aunt, and when we started discussing what was going on with her, she said the same sentence I heard from my dead cousin. She was left alone with her emotions, she needed somebody's attention, and somebody to talk to her. I remember feeling shiver down my spine when she said it. It also turned out that another family member on psychedelics was allowed for a moment to be in his earthly body from the past, experiencing his personality and his emotions, so it wasn't just me. When Kurt Cobain showed up, that was still something that could have been my imagination. The father of that girl made me realize that something serious is going on, but after my cousin's visit, I knew that this is real. And these were not the messages that convinced me, but the fact that he used 434. Back that night, an hour later, I blindly stopped another recording in complete darkness at 4 minutes and 34 seconds. And it happened again when I was listening to this recording today, preparing to talk about it for this video. One more thing. Unlike machine elves, dead people do not talk to me. They send me messages. It is not the same method of communication. It feels like the communication is very one-sided, as if they could send messages and not receive them. But they can react and interfere into what is happening here by sending messages or affecting our emotions. I will make a separate video about death one day. I'm not ready yet and I don't have the necessary information yet. But it is clear, people who die are still here. They move out of this reality, but they know what is going on. Call them angels, ghosts, energy, they're still around. Talk to them. I think they can hear us. I will make another video about the power of prayer, but yes, you should pray to them. I will end this video with a message from me. Give your presence to your loved ones while you can. We meet for a moment and then we go our separate ways in this life, so appreciate people while they're around you. You will know how much you appreciate them and how much they mean to you only when they're gone. Don't leave things unsaid. Say what you need to say. There is no better moment than now. Love, 434.